Hello, family, and welcome to AHAYAH'S Word. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and hit the notification bell to know when a new video has been uploaded. Today's topic, 7 Churches of Revelations. This is a map of the 7 churches that are located in Asia Minor. Asia Minor in the early 1st century AD. This is a general map. Here is modern-day Turkey. It's considered to be Asia Minor today. Now, the prolific events that will precede Yeshua's second coming, Yochanan, the last of the original 12 disciples and apostles, received divine message. Then he's told some incredible visions of end-time events that are similar to those seen by prophet Daniel hundreds of years earlier. The book of Revelation describes a vision given to Apostle Yochanan. It opens with an incredible encounter between Yeshua and the apostle. Right now, let's look at the picture of Patmos, Greece, where the apostle Yochanan was exiled when they tried so desperately to kill him. Revelations, chapter 1, verses 12 to 16. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as flame of fire, and his feet like unto a fine brass, as if they were burnt in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength. In part, Yochanan writes, Then I turned to see the voice that was speaking to me, because I'm basically giving you overall like what he saw and when he was speaking to a conversation between him and Yeshua. Let me continue. And on turning, I saw 7 golden lampstands. In the midst of the lampstand, one like the Son of Man, clothed with a long robe and with a golden sash around his chest. Yeshua is described in great detail, absolutely glorious. A picture, Yeshua standing in the middle of 7 candle lampstands. The middle candle is known as the servant candle. Is used to light all the other candles. And Yeshua was the light to us because he showed us how we are supposed to be in relations to the Father and each other. Yeshua is pictured wearing garments of a royal priest, and yet there is a clear element of his divine presence. Yeshua is sitting in the midst of the 7 churches. 7 is a number of completion and perfection. So Yeshua is in the midst of the entire church, his body. In Revelation chapter 1, verses 12 and 13, Yeshua explains the opening scene of Yochanan's vision to him. As for the mystery of the 7 stars, there you saw in my right hand, and the 7 golden lampstands. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches. Revelation chapter 1, verse 20. The mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches. Like I said again, in Revelation chapter 1, verse 20, so the lampstands or the candlesticks are the translation represent the 7 churches. Now, the instructions for the 1st century churches. The 7 churches of Revelations in chapter 2 and 3 were congregations of AHAYAH in the 1st century, located in Asia Minor, what people now call modern Turkey. Each of these congregations represented actual communities of early true believers of AHAYAH'S Word, not buildings or meeting halls. In addressing each of these congregations, AHAYAH said that he knew their works, knowing the challenges they were facing and know they were responding. He ambushed them to repent of their sins, also to become and remain faithful in order to receive salvation. Although their circumstances vary, this message was similar for each congregation. These are the characteristics of the 7 churches. As the people in the days of old, we are now, like in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. There is no new thing under the sun. First part, glorious. Titus chapter 2, verse 13. Looking for that blessed hope and glorious appearing of the great Ahaya and AHAYAH'S. Markers. 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 1 to 4 right now, and then I will continue on the next page. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir you your pure minds by the way of remembrance, that ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the AHAYAH'S, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. Okay, let's just finish from verses 5 to 7 of 2 Peter. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of Ahaya the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world then was, being overflowed with water, perish. But the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire, against the day of judgment, perdition of unholy men, and Yeshaya al-Adawan. The next part, mystery, Ephesians chapter 3, verses 8 to 11. Unto me, who am less than the least of all saints, is this grace given, that I should preach among the Gentiles the unsearchable riches of Ahaya, and to make all men see what is this fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world have been hid in Ahaya, who created all things by Yeshaya, to the intent that now unto the principalities and powers in heavenly places might be known by the church the manifold wisdom of Ahaya, according to the eternal purpose which he proposed in Yeshaya al-Adawan. Now that says a lot. That means there will be other people be scoffing, people be laughing and so forth, but that's all right. Keep the faith, people. Next, a third way the message to the 7 churches can be understood is as advice and warning to believers throughout all ages. Sadly, false teachers have been misunderstood, misimplied, and the message to the 7 churches, and claiming that their organization or group of people represents totality of a particular church era, such as the Philadelphia, the faithful church, and the other believers represent the other era, such as the Laodicea, the lukewarm church. Yeshaya warns all believers that we are to take the speck of our own eye before we can even begin to take the point of the speck in our brother's eye. Matthew chapter 7, verse 3. And why beholdest that thou mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thy own eye? In other words, take the blindness of your own eye before you can take the blindness of your brother's. Romans chapter 2, verse 1. Therefore, thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judges, for wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself, for thou that judgest doest the same thing. That means you'll be held at the same standard in which you judge your own brother. So you have no excuse. The message to the 7 churches in Revelation chapter 2 and 3 shows that the church and its members were destined to face many trials and temptations throughout the centuries before Yeshua would return. Yet Ahaya promised to reward his church, the individual members, if they would repent of misdeeds and remain forever faithful to him. They will be duly rewarded. Let's go over the churches. First church, Ephesians, the loveless church, Revelation chapter 2, verse 1 to 7. The church that has forsaken their first love. They were hard working, but they no longer had the same passion for Yeshua as when they first believed. Their work was no longer motivated by love. Unto the angel of the first church, Ephesians, write these things, said that holdeth the 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks. I know thy works, and thy labor, and thy patience, and how thou canst not bear them which are evil, and thou hast tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and hast found them liars, and hast borne and has patience, for my name's sake has labored and has not fainted. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. Remember, therefore, from whence thou art fallen, and repent, and do the first works, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and remove thy candlestick out of his place, except thou repent. But this thou hast, that thou hatest the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach say unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of AHAYAH'S. 2. Samaria, the persecuted church. Revelation chapter 2, verses 8 to 11. Samaria, the church that would suffer persecution, particularly by the hands of those who are the synagogue of Satan. Revelation chapter 2, verse 11. And unto the angel of the church in the Samaria writes, These things saith the first and the last, which are dead, and is alive. I know thy works, and the tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation for 10 days. But thou faithful unto death. Be faithful unto death. And I will give thee the crown of life. He that hath an ear, let them hear what the Ruach say unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. Pergamos, the pagan church. Revelation chapter 2, verses 12 to 17. Pergamos, the church that needed to repent from the following the pagan and occult teachings of the Nicolaitans. Pergamos was located at the location of Satan's throne. Chapter 2, verses 12 to 17. And to the angel of the church in Pergamos, write, These things said he that which hath a sharp sword with 2 edges. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. And thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught that Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Yasharel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of Nicolaitan, which thing I hate. Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. He that hath an ear, let them hear what the Ruach say unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saying he that receiveth it. Pergamos was the home of the altar of Zeus that was built from 197 to 156 BC. It remained there until the Germans came. A German engineer named Karl Humann discovered the ruins in 1864. The Germans moved the altar of Zeus piece by piece to Germany and is housed in the Pergamon Museum, which opened in 1930. To this day, the altar is housed in Pergamon Museum in Berlin. The altar was used as a pattern by Hitler architect Albert Speer as a backdrop for one of Hitler's speeches to the Nazis in Nuremberg. It was known as the Zeppelin Tribune. The Church of Pergamos has had members who hold to the teaching of Nicolaitans, according to the writings in the early church leaders. Nicholas taught a doctrine of compromise, implying that total separation between true believers of Yeshua and the practice of occult paganism was not essential. From the early church record, it seems apparent that this Nicholas of Antioch was so immersed in occultism, Judaism, etc., that the truth of Yeshua, that he had a stomach for all of it. He had no problem intermingling these belief systems in various concoctions and saw no reason why believers couldn't contribute to fellowship with those still immersed in the black magic of the Roman Empire and its countless mystery cults. The Nicolaitans believed that if a person was saved by grace, then it didn't matter how they lived. They misused grace of AHAYAH and the liberty that is in Yeshua to satisfy their carnal, sexual, lustful desires. Nicolaitans around today? Yes, very much so. Pergamos was Satan's capital. The grammar of the verse in Revelation suggests that it is still Satan's capital. That is not to say the people of Pergamos or modern-day Bergama are satanic. But check this out. In 2008, Barack Obama was nominated by Democratic Party as their nominee for president. Excuse me. This setting was in Denver, Colorado. Curiously, many believers that the stage where he announced his candidacy for president was a dead ringer for the altar of Zeus, aka seat of Satan. Check that out. Fourth church, Thyatira. If I say it wrong, I'm sorry. The corrupt church, Revelation chapter 2, verses 18 to 29. Thyatira, the church that has Jezebel's spirit, who convinced them that it was okay to commit acts of immorality. Revelation chapter 2. And unto the angel that of the church of Thyatira write these things, saith the Son of Elohim, who has his eyes like unto the flame of fire, and his feet are like the fine brass. I know thy works, and charity, and service, and faith, and thy patience, and thy works, and the last to be more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest a woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and seduce many servants to commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repent not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searches the reins and hearts. And I will give unto every one of you according to your works. But unto you I say, and unto the rest of in the area, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Satan, as they speak, I will put upon you no other burden, and but that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of potter shall they be broken to shivers. Even as I receive of my Father, I will give him the morning star. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach say unto the churches. 5. Sardis, the dead church. Revelation chapter 3, verses 1 to 6. Sardis, the church that was dead, needs to wake up, or they will not be prepared for the Adawan's visitation. The day of Adawan will come upon them like a thief in the night. Revelation chapter 3. And unto the angel of the church of Sardis write, These things saith he that has the 7 spirits of Elohim, the 7 stars. I know thy works, that thou hast a name, that thou livest and art dead. Be watchful and strengthen the things which remain. They are ready to die, for I have not found thy works perfect before Elohim. Remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee like as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. Thou hast a few names, even in Sardis, which I have not defiled their garments, and they shall walk with me in white, for they are worthy. He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot out his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach say unto the churches. 6. Philadelphia, the faithful church. Revelation chapter 3, verse 7 to 13. Philadelphia, the faithful church that had endured patiently, and only church that received the promise of escaping the time of trial that comes upon the whole earth, the tribulation period. Revelation 3. And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write these. These things saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that has the key of David, he that openeth, and no man shutteth, and shutteth no man openeth. I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which they say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee, because thou hast kept my word, kept the word of my patience, and I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the whole world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, and that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh I will make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my Elohim, and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of the heaven from my Elohim. And I will write upon him my new name. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Ruach say unto the churches. Lucidia, the lukewarm church. Revelation chapter 3, verses 14 to 22. Lucidia, the church with the lukewarm faith. Revelation chapter 3. And unto the angel of the church of the Lucidians write, These things saith the Amen, the faithful, the true witness, the beginning of creation of Elohim. I know thy works, that thou art neither hot, nor cold, or nor hot. I would rather cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, neither cold or hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth, because thou sayest, I am rich, and increase with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. I counsel thee to buy of me gold, tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. Anoint thy eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and sat down with my Father in his throne. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Ruach say unto the churches. AHAYAH gave the apostle Yochanan important messages for 7 churches of Revelation. How do these messages give instructions for the world, especially his people today? Yeshua is holding the Islog, 7 stars, in his right hand, which are the 7 angels of the 7 churches. Yeshua has them gathered in his right hand, so his hand is upon them. He is having the last surviving apostle Yochanan write a letter that will be sent through the 7 angels to the 7 churches. The message is for the 7 churches, or as it's been described as the 7 eras, or the 7 types of believers who are present at the end of days. The churches are also described as lampstands. Why? Yeshua is the light of the world. The lampstand represents something that holds the light, or that the light shines from, like the church. An individual could also be considered a lampstand, in that the light of Yeshua shines through each one via his Ruach Kodesh. The sharp two-edged sword that comes out of Yeshua's mouth are his words of truth, the truth of AHAYAH. Yeshua speaks truth and light. He is not worried about political correctness or changing biblical truth to match the culture. No. Yeshua speaks truth that is living and active, even sharper than a two-edged sword. The truth cuts between the joint and marrow, between the soul and the ruach, and able to discern the thoughts and intents of the heart. That is in Hebrews 4:12. So why did AHAYAH the Father, the author of the message, Revelation 1:1, chapter 1, verse 1, select these 7 congregations? What relevance do these messages have for us today? As we see AHAYAH select these 7 congregations to give timeless instruction for his people throughout the centuries. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that has been, that is, which shall be, and which is done, is which shall be done. There is no new thing under the sun. Because we follow the way of our forefathers, whether it's right or wrong. So whatever AHAYAH told our ancestors, the same wisdom applies today and forever. There are some recommendations I have for you. So, check it out. Look it over at YouTube. I know most people have YouTube. And any information I have for you, I'll leave in the subscription box. And like I always like to say, let the Ruach Kodesh lead you. It will not lead you astray. And like to say, pray without ceasing, my brothers and sisters, as well as the strangers. I love you, but mostly importantly, AHAYAH loves you. Even if it seems no one else does, AHAYAH hasn't forgotten you. And like I said, subscribe, like, share, comment, and hit the notification bell when a new video has been uploaded. Until next time, Shalom, family.